After a long wait and many publications launching the Jimny year after year for many years, finally the Maruti Suzuki Jimny is here and going to go on sale very soon. Now we are driving it in pretty much the perfect environment made for Jimny, but with all of the hype around this vehicle, there is a lot resting on it. So does the Jimny actually live up to the hype or not? Let's find out. Now let's start off with the design of the Jimny first, and one look at the car and you instantly will note that this is a vehicle built for off-roading. It's got that proper boxy feel to it, which a lot of us Indians love. So it has that proper SUV DNA. Yes, it's compact on the outside. It's not huge, it's not big, it's not bulky, but at the same time it is muscular in its own way. Now if you look at the front, it's got this grille with the 5 slats, which again is in line with the Jimny legacy. You've got these retro round lamps up front. The bumper, the colors by the way are pretty nice and funky in the Jimny range. And even when you move to the side, you can see these body claddings, the flared up wheel arches and the straight belt line. Again, the roof, it just keeps going on a straight way. No curves, nothing. It is a car that was designed probably with just a pencil and a scale. There are pretty much no curves in this vehicle. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, it does the job of coming across as a proper off-road SUV, has a lot of character, will turn eyes and heads wherever it goes. Step inside the cabin of the Jimny and what you get is a cabin that is familiar to other Maruti Suzuki cars but is also familiar to the Gypsy, and that starts with the instrument cluster here. Now if you are someone who is familiar with the layout of the Gypsy, this dual pod setup that you get here for the instrument cluster, that is reminiscent of the Gypsy. So yes, that heritage is clearly visible here. The instrument cluster, of course, it's a combination of analog and digital with the digital screen in the between. Serves the purpose, clear readouts, no problems at all. What you have here is again the Smart Play touchscreen infotainment system. Familiar system, already seen it on Grand Vitara, Baleno, Brezza, very similar, works well. It's got good resolution, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, easy to use. Beyond that, if I talk about the dashboard layout, it's got a very functional dashboard. It's got minimalistic design approach, so there's no fancy frills around it, which is perfectly fine for an off-road vehicle. It is very, very functional. So for your co-passenger, when you're going off-road, it's got this place where you can hold and keep yourself stable. So that's a nice addition, and it's got a very solid feel to it. Beyond that, I think the plastic quality, the texture they've given on the dashboard is fine. It's not great, but it's not bad as well. You've got these small rectangular AC vents here, the circular ones on the side. The air conditioning, by the way, works very nicely in the vehicle. It's a hot day here around Dehradun in this forest area, but still the AC is performing brilliantly and the car is cooling down very quickly. Also, if you look at the climate control here, it's got this circular layout, looks nice, easy to use. The button here, you've got the button for the driver side window and one on the other side for the co-passenger side. There's a button for hill descent and there's a button for traction control. The seat themselves, well, I would say the seat is fairly comfortable up front. Space is good. Head clearance, again, good amount of head clearance. And so yes, shoulder space is also fine. It's a functional and comfortable cabin, but there are some downsides to it as well. In terms of practicality, there are some things which could have been improved. Now, for example, the door pockets up front are pretty much useless. You can't keep anything else more than some papers. No kind of water bottles will fit in. Up front here also you've got just enough space to probably have the key fob. So again, finding place to keep your smartphone or something or your wallet, that's going to be tricky. There is no center armrest. You have cup holders here. Interestingly, like I said, the buttons for the windows are here, for these windows are here, but for the back, for the driver, you've got the buttons here, and for the passengers at the back, the buttons are on the doors where you expect them. So yes, I mean, in terms of usability, practicality, it could have been a little better, but then again, hey, it's a lifestyle vehicle primarily meant for off-road. But let's check out the rear seat and see how good or bad is it back there. Once in the back seat of the Jimny, you quickly realize that the functional approach of the cabin that continues, because you will realize that there's no fancy stuff anywhere here. In terms of space, well, it's good. With the driver's seat adjusted to my driving preference, and I'm 5 feet 8 inches, you can see I have a good amount of knee room to spare, good leg room, so that's perfectly fine. Headroom again, well, if you are even 6 feet tall, I don't think you would be brushing your head against the ceiling of the car. The seat, well, the seat is just about okay. I mean, it's a small car, so it's not a very wide seat. So first of all, if you're going to have 3 people sitting here, the person in middle is not going to be happy. There's a high transmission tunnel here, and the seat is not wide, so 3 will be quite a stuff. But for 2 occupants, I think the space is fine. The cushioning of the seat is okay. The problem with the seat is that there is very little or almost no under thigh support, and this can be quite a bother on long drives. In terms of backrest, well, you can adjust it and increase the recline. This is the maximum recline you can get. Not bad, but not very comfortable either. So yes, it's a functional cabin. You can have 4 or 5 people sitting in here, but this is not a vehicle that I would recommend for people to be going out on long drives, especially if you're going to be in this seat for a long time. But yes, for short runs, it does the job. Alright, now coming to the performance of the Maruti Suzuki Jimny, well, it is offered with one petrol engine only, which is the 1.5 litre naturally aspirated unit, and it develops 104 horsepower. And well, in terms of transmission, you have a choice. You can either go in for the 5-speed manual that I'm driving right now, or you can also go in for a 4-speed AT. Yes, 4-speed automatic gearbox. And yeah, I mean, it does sound dated in today's time, but that's what you get in the Jimny. Alright, now talking about the engine performance, well, this comes with 104 PS, like I said, and for a vehicle of this size and weight, it sounds adequate. Once you get on the road, it is adequate. But keep in mind that the Jimny is being positioned as an off-road lifestyle vehicle. Off-road being the key word here, because you cannot buy the Jimny in a 2-wheel drive version. It can only be had in a 4-wheel drive version. So first thing to answer is, how good is it off-road? Well, the next few minutes when you see what the Jimny is capable of, you will be convinced that it is a very capable off-road vehicle. First of all, what really helps is the high ground clearance and the overhangs, both front and the rear, which are very short, because of which your approach and departure angles are quite aggressive. Again, a high ramp breakover angle, and beyond that, this 4x4 system, which Maruti Suzuki calls All Grip Pro. So here you have the option of going into 4 high, and if the going gets tough, you can go into 4 low. So yes, clearly off-road, it is great, especially because it's small, it's nimble, it can go into a lot of places where a large 4x4 wouldn't venture. And in terms of on-road performance as well, the Jimny performs well, it scores high, but it comes with the catch, because I would rate it high for on-road performance only the manual gearbox version. The 4-speed automatic gearbox, well, that is good if you want a vehicle that you're going to drive in traffic on a daily basis and you want that convenience of an automatic, but you want a vehicle that you can take on your off-road trails during the weekends. Well, then the 4-speed 80 does the job. The manual though is more fun to drive. The gearbox has been mated well to the engine. 104 horsepower again is adequate for this kind of a vehicle, and the manual gearbox actually lets you deploy that power in a very good manner. And this means that with the manual gearbox, the Jimny can be quite a fun vehicle on the road. In terms of dynamics too, it is pretty impressive. Straight line stability is good. It doesn't mind going around corners. Of course, you need to keep in mind that it's a boxy off-road vehicle, so it's not meant to attack corners. But yes, if you are driving it even in the hilly regions, well, it will not give you a reason to complain as long as you are sane up here. So great off-road performance, good on-road performance, especially with the manual gearbox, and all of this would or probably could force people to think that it probably might not be comfortable to ride on the streets, but that isn't the case. The ride quality is pretty balanced, so you do not compromise on the comfort front. The suspension has been set up well. It solos most of the undulations in a very good manner. So yes, it's a very good all-rounder as far as on-road and off-road performance is concerned. And that brings us to the last part of this video, which is, should you buy the Jimny? Well, if you are in the market for a lifestyle off-road vehicle, you pretty much have two choices in this broad price segment. Either you go in for the much larger Thar or you buy a Jimny. The advantage Jimny has is definitely that it's compact, it's a little more fun to drive, you can chuck it around and you can find your limit more easily. The limitation, of course, would be in terms of practicality, and of course the fact that it doesn't come in any two-wheel drive version. So if you don't want an off-road focused vehicle, you just want something that looks cool, you will still end up paying for the four-wheel drive technology. Well, that's the slight flip side I see with the Jimny positioning. Now, we don't know the price yet, but the prices are about to be announced soon, and if Maruti Suzuki gets the pricing right, I think the Jimny does have potential to become a good seller. Of course, it wouldn't become one of the top selling products of the company because of its limitation in terms of appeal. Like I said, very off-road focused. But if they get the price right, if an aggressive price is given to the Jimny, I think it can do wonders.